What's up all my YouTube friends? Today's video is about, is it that one? Or is it that one? Could be that one, or it could be that one. Power distribution centers. Got the relay packs. Actually both of them are done, but only this video is about only the assembly of one of them. The other video will be released later. So which one do you think it may be? This one's a Jeep Cherokee XJ. This is an Amazon kit. Ironically, I had this right here probably about 2/3 done. Then I discovered that kit right there. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy that one too and try it out. Each one of them are wired different. This right here is wired as a positive relay trigger. This one is wired as a negative relay trigger. Meaning this right here is triggered by the ground side. This is triggered by the positive side. So which one's the video going to be about? Guess you just got to find out, huh? So everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe down below. Hit that thumbs up button at the end of this video if you like it. Sorry, but it's a rather long video, but it's a detailed video on the assembly of a power distribution center. So, everyone, hit that thumbs up at the end of the video, or hit it now. Sounds good to me. Subscribe if you haven't, so that way you get notified of all these cool videos as I release them. And leave me a cool comment down below. Everyone, get on with the video. Let's pull this bottom piece off here. Look what's going on inside here. Get these little tabs right here. You kind of get underneath them. Looks like they just pop off. There's that one. Get this one. There we go. That's where all our terminals are going to come in through there, and all your wiring is going to be up underneath here. This locks on those little tabs, apparently. Actually, it goes in this way. These little tabs go in there, and all your wiring harnesses is going to come out this end right here. Compact little unit, kind of like it. The XJ power distribution boxes and stuff, they got 7 relays. This is only going to have 6. I like this little compact thing. Okay, so we got that bottom off. We're going to look through our, check these out, separate and see how they fit, because it did not come with the directions. So my video is going to be your instruction sheet basically. So let's see, I'm going to mess with it for a moment, figure out how it goes together, and I'll be back with you to give you your tutorial. Cool? Okay, I've got my little terminals laid out here, and we'll go over them real quick. Here's one's going to be for the fuses. These are standard 1/4 inch for your Bosch relays, like these. Here we go. Standard 5-pin Bosch relays. And there's that group, and then we got these. Look at the big wide rascal here. Now here's the standard Bosch one, and there's that one. This one is way bigger, which goes in for this right here. This is a 4-pin. Now you got your 4-pin Bosch, which will have this one, this one, this one, this one, with minus this one. But this one is an RT, what is it? RTT 7121. Now, I guess I'm going to have to go to the auto parts store tomorrow and pick one of those up, because I don't have one here, and I don't feel like going to the junkyard and salvaging one, because the closest junkyard here is a pretty good little drive. So I'd actually be better off just going and buying one, because I want to test the posts. Meaning, I looked at the schematics. This side, once these two sides right here is going to be one's battery, one goes to your accessory, okay? But these two are your switching circuits. One's going to be going to your ground. The other side's going to go to your switch circuit that turns on whatever, you know, if you want this to be toward a fuel pump or your electric fan or whatever the case may be. Because this is a high amperage relay here. So with that being said, the question is going to be is that some relays have diodes built into them. And what I'm not sure of is this particular relay if it has a diode built into it, it matters which side is hot, which side's ground, okay? So therefore, I have to make sure I get those right. Or if I find the schematics tonight, to make sure I wire this correctly. What would happen, okay, if it does not have a diode within inside the relay, it does not matter then as to which side is the ground, which side is the hot. If it does have a diode, then it does matter which side's ground, which side's the switch, or which side's hot. Because if I get that backwards and it has a diode and the ground's on the wrong side, the relay will not activate. So I have to make sure I get those right. So I'm going to try to find the schematics here in a few minutes, or if I pick up a relay tomorrow to test it, see which way the current goes. So for what we can do for tonight, each one of these 1/4 inch Bosch, each one of these, I can go ahead and put my wires on them, crimp them down good, and solder them in, and have those prepped and ready to go, and get these prepped and ready to go. That is totally doable. So let's do it. Now this is like, you're like, wait a minute, oh, how does that fit in there like that? Let's take this back off real quick. Got poppies right here. That one's loose. There. Try to make sure the light hits it just right here. They snap in from the back right here, but they don't just snap in a row like that, obviously. What you got to do is you got to break these off. So I'm going to snap these things off here, get them all individual terminals, and start building them up to get ready to put this thing together. For the fuse connectors, take them, this little band right here, grab these, bend them backwards. Now body could twist them back and forth, twist them back and forth. That would be one thing to do. Sometimes these don't break quite that easy. But if you bend them back and get yourself diagonal cutters here, get in just behind it here. Squeeze on it, giving it a good squeeze to imprint the metal. Wiggle it back and forth a little bit. Pops right off there. Come up here and get this one. Get a little squeeze cut going on, because you're not going to squeeze and it just pop right off. At least I'm not anyway. Maybe these things are just that wore out, but now just take it, wiggle it back and forth. Ta-da. Flip it around. Turn your cutters, because you want the back side of your cutters here like this, because what that does, it keeps the little fingers. If you take and turn it around that way, your cutters, where it's angled on the inside, will compress down these little fingers here, so you don't want that. But if you turn it this way, it gives these fingers here room on the back side of the cutter. But this indentation inside the cutter here, this back side of the strip fits inside of it. So I clamp down on that and wiggle it back and forth. Ta-da! Open up. Get on this one. Open that. And you no longer need this one. Here's my game plan. Now, the way these are going to be typically built is that each one of your wires will come out here and they're just going to be hanging out here, little pigtails flopping around everywhere, just saying, hey, tie into me and let's do this thing, you know. But I like my wiring, when I do it, to be modular pieces. It's easier to service and to track down issues or whatever the case may be. So these little strips right here, I'm going to be using these. So I'll be taking some 2-part epoxy, sticking that baby to the side of it. This will be where I hook on all my accessories, be it lighting, my onboard air, whatever the case may be. That way I'll get these tied onto this little strips right here and I'm ready to roll. So each one of these will have a wire coming off the accessory side of the relay, which was trigger battery. It'd be this post right here on the relay. See how these right here go? These two are parallel. Then that one, that's going to be your battery post, and this is going to be your accessory. And this side's your trigger that goes to your switch. Okay. So all the wires, these terminals that comes from this post come from here. It's going to come exit here and come around and tie onto this block here. Give me a way to I can just slide my light, onboard air, whatever, just kind of screw it on there and make it modular pieces. It's easier to service and hook everything up, and much cleaner install. And also with my trigger wires, and the trigger on the relay is here. Okay, I'm going to have this one. See, same thing as this, but I'm going to have this one in the bottom of this glued in. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take my terminals here and use my big fat red wire here and build my wires to come out to the proper length that's going to come out to this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut and splice all these and crimp them onto these ends, get all those wires built, and we'll move on to the next step after that. Sound good? Alright, see you in a minute. Okay, let's do a little rundown of how I'm going to cut my wiring. I'm using 10 gauge, probably overkill, but you know what, there's some things I'd rather go overkill than, darn, I wish I'd used heavy wire, you know? So, using 10 gauge, here's my relay. Now the position is looking at from like this. Here, here's your accessory here. That's where your lights, onboard air, whatever electrical thing you're wiring up, this is where it's going to be. From here, 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 and probably off here. Okay? So flipping this upside down, this just for kicks and giggles, we'll take this relay, and on the relay post, here is your accessory post going out to your light, your onboard air, whatever it is you're triggering. That is the post for that. So we'll just stick that in there, right there, like that. Turn this upside down, pull the relay out, and look at it. Here's your positioning, so it's going to mean this hole here, 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 and here, and here is where each one of your holes is going to be, or where your wire is going to be for that particular post. So here's what we do. Take a piece of wire. I'm just going to simply stick it right here inside the hole where that post is going to go. Loop it around, and got to have my little strip here, which will be glued to the side of this. It'll loop around and come out to. It'll loop around and come out to this post here. So in this case, I believe I'm going to. Not that it's going to matter, because once they exit out, I'm going to make this one the first one here. Because what that'll do, as it exits out, there'll be a short wire here. Take this one, bring it out, there'll be a short wire here. Then as I get this one, it'll keep the length of my wires down that way, and I get to utilize more length of the wire that I purchased. So this one will come out to this post, this one will come out to this post, and so on down the line. Over here, what you see off camera, you can't see off camera, I've got my power wires built up. This right here, you see it's got two wires. This is for a relay that has an 87, 87A post. These two right here, 87, 87A. And if you don't know what that is, I'll just kind of give you a brief synopsis of it to where you kind of understand what's going on. An A7, A7A relay, this is your battery post here. These two are your accessory, 87, 87A. This is your trigger wire, this is your ground. This being trigger wire also means what's going to your switch, and you turn your switch on and off. Okay, with your switch turned off, okay, switch turned off, this particular post right here has no power applied to it. When this post has no power applied to it, your switch is turned off, your battery here is circulating through the relay and sending power out here. Okay, so here, these two right here are a normally closed circuit. So now, turn your switch on, it applies power to this post right here. When you apply the power to this post right here, it removes power from here and takes the circuit from the battery power, comes in this post, circulates through the relay and out this post here, turning this one off. A7, A7A, there you go. The relay in a normal state with the power turned off, like as I'm holding it in my hand here and no power to it. These two right here have a continuity. These two right here are connected right now. If I was to apply power from here this is ground, this is hot. If I was to apply power to those two right there, it would disconnect this one and connect these two. It would disconnect with power here, ground here. It would disconnect these two and connect this one and this one. So there's different applications you can run that with. No, it can be to turn on or turn off driving lights, that coordinate with your headlights, whether they're high beam or low beam. Different scenarios. I had an extra one of these that came with it, so I'm setting up an 87 relay just in case I decide to use it for something. So now what we're going to do, we're going to set up all my grounds. And all your ground posts, find that relay again. Remember, look at your post. They're plugged in here. Remove here. This is your ground here. This is your ground post. So which means this position, here, 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 and like I mentioned earlier, I still haven't looked up the schematics on this. One of these two right here is going to be a ground. One of these two is going to be the trigger wire. Let me get up here with the light a little better. This is that 4-pin section right here. One of these is going to be a ground. One of them is going to be a trigger wire. I can go ahead and build my ground to go over to it. And once I figure out which side is going to be ground, which side is going to be trigger, then I can just insert it to the proper spot and we're good to go. So at this point, I am free to go ahead and build my ground circuit. So I can boom, 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 and one of these two right here. Cool? Alright. And what I plan on doing is after I make the loop all the way around, that's all going to be one series connection coming all the way around, because the grounds can be hooked together, because we're doing this box as a positive side switching, okay? So after I take my grounds, make my loop all the way around, I'm going to run it out here. So I'm going to go ahead and start building my grounds. I'll show you those here in just a bit. Okay, before I put all the ends on, I just want to show you what I did real quick. I just cut little short sections of wire from this post to this post to this post to this post, and just kind of continue on around. So what I can do now is just simply strip the ends of these and connect them to my little female spade connectors. So actually, so you just kind of cut this one, and this one's is going to be, it's kind of on length in a way. Then cut this one to this one, and they're just kind of stuck in there. See, they're just kind of stuck in there. And once you cut this one, and this one right here, they're all the same length, so you can use this for reference to cut the other ones. The one hopping from here to there is going to be a little bit longer, if you really want to split hairs about it. I mean, if you want to be that picky, totally your call. Alright, so I'm going to take and put all these together and put them on my little spade connectors. Okay, we're going to go ahead and glue our little strips here in place. And here's what I did. I mean, this plastic right here is like really smooth, like waxed smooth almost. I took my knife and little heavy scratch marks through here. Done like a crosshatch pattern on the strip, on the back of it. Did the same thing there. Gives it something really good to bond to, something more than just this really slick plastic right here. Also, the bottom of this is where I'm putting the switch wires. Same thing. You see the little crosshatch pattern where I took my blade and kind of held it at an angle and cutting, scratching really deep into it. Hold the blade at an angle like that. They come back the other way. Hold it the other way. The pitch of the blade the other way. It's going to give it a good bite for that glue to bond to. And also, you can see the back here. Says glue them up. Okay, I went ahead and pre-built a lot of my cables here. Here's the ones that trigger, like that's going to go out to your switches. Haven't soldered these yet. I've already soldered those. I'm a real big fan of soldering my connections, because then you kind of really eliminate any issues of faulty connections later on down the road. I've been building the wires that go to the battery side of the relay, and they loop over into the fuse block area. Okay, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a power coming in. Where's my pointing thing at? I'm going to have a power coming in on this side of the fuses. This side of the fuses is going to feed my relays. Therefore, I have to cross over a bunch of wires. No, keep it nice, neat, and tidy. But you notice how these are kind of different lengths. is this one is going to fold over into this one. It's going to come all the way over and plug into this one. This one is going to come into the second one, third, fourth, fifth. Then here's that 4-pin relay, which I have here. And I told you guys earlier I wasn't sure about this thing. I went to the auto parts store, and the fella at O'Reilly's, dude, was awesome. He helped me out so much. He even said he was going to subscribe to my channel. So dude, if you see this, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it a lot. Now, I mentioned earlier about the possibility of his relay being polarity sensitive, about turning it on and off, because some of them are. And let's just take these out of the equation for right now. Oh, it's stabbing me. Okay. This 2 posts right here are the posts. One's a ground, one's hot. Okay. Some relays have diodes built into them to make one of them has to be a ground, one of them has to be a positive. I think I explained this earlier, but if not, here you go again. What I wasn't sure of, because I'd never dealt with this particular style relay before, is the fact is the diode, is it going to make a difference as to which one goes hot, which one goes ground. Okay, so I hooked it up to my little battery, tested. I put ground on this side, hit positive on this side of the battery post, click, it clicked on. I'm like, oh, hey, cool, okay, so if my polarity is correct, you know, it clicked. If it means it's good. So then I tested my continuity between these 2 posts. When I heard the relay go click, I have power passing across these 2 posts. Cool? Alright. So, I thought, okay, it worked that way, but what if I turn it around? Put ground over here, hot over here. You know, turn my polarity around. I heard click, it kicked on. So I tested my continuity between the 2 posts. I had power passing between the 2 posts. I was good to go. So therefore, that tells me that these are not sensitive as far as which post goes where. Okay, and there's your part number, 25-0126, and the best I could tell, it is an accessory relay or an air conditioning relay or a headlight relay for Hondas. I believe whenever the fella at O'Reilly's looked it up, and again, dude, I really appreciate your time, because we were just kind of looking for random relays on his screen and said, hey, wait a minute, that's it, and he found one off the shelf. It's about 18 bucks, so it's an expensive little booger. So whenever you're at the junkyard, you can score you some extras, go for it. And so look on your Hondas, and there's where the pin out's going to be. Here, let me pull those off so you can get a little closer look. Notice narrow pin, wide pin, wide pin. Okay, so check out your Hondas, because next time I'm in the junkyard, I'm going to pick me up a couple of extras of these right here. Anyway, so there's your part number, 250126. Honda, either accessory relay, air conditioning relay, or a headlight relay. I found it when I googled it. I found it could be used one of those 3 things. I guess it depends on which model Honda. Now, on to the other point. When I was sizing these wires up, I want to make this side. See, it's gonna come. Yeah, I want to make this side my battery for the 4-post relay. This side is going to be coming out to my accessory, coming out to here. Okay, and got them all glued up. These solid. In case I didn't show you guys earlier, that's what I used to glue them on with. Good stuff. So I'm going into battery positive here. Stick it in there. Then you want to take and loop this over and kind of touch the top of where the fuses are here. Okay, that's going to give you a ballpark idea, a ballpark length. Give yourself about another quarter, half inch or so if you want. Then cut your wire. Cool. Now, another reason I just want to show you guys this is how I'm crimping these. I've got a special pair of crimpers right here that work really well with these connectors that comes with this tool. Comes with this kit. So you want to take here, strip off some insulation, about yay much, and we're talking probably about 3/8 of an inch or so. Trim this one, and I got a few fuzzies, strays here picking out. Okay, now here's our little connectors. Now look real close at them. See, we got these little wing tabs right here, and we got shorter wing tabs on these two. Okay, what you want to do to start out with, what I found works best, is take your needle nose pliers or whatever and just barely clamp them in for a little bit. Now I got a reason for this here in a moment. I'll show you. Pull those in just a little bit. Okay. Then what we're going to do, we're going to take the wire. Now before I show you that, I want to show you the crimpers that I'm using. Alright, there's my crimpers. Had these things for a gazillion years, it seems like. And what they got, this right here is for like doing spark plug wires. It does a great job on those. Strip regular wire right here, and they work so-so. These things suck as strippers, to be honest with you. Then we got the wire cutter on this end, and these suck as wire cutters too. But where they come in very handy is their crimpings. This right here is for like your butt connectors, and it does an awesome job. But look right there, that's what's in question. If you look real close, see it's got that little peak right there. It's kind of looks like a McDonald's M in a way, I guess you might say. And then you got a bigger one right here. Okay, this is right here is what I'll be using. So what you want to try to find is a pair of crimpers that has that little M shape, and this has a little dip in the bottom of it. So let me open them up a little bit, get you a little different view. See, this part right here has that little dip, kind of like a little bowl shape, and then right here has like a big McDonald's M like shape. That works great on these connectors that comes with this kit. Now let's do a demonstration. Okay, there's the one that I kind of squeezed them in for a little bit, and I'll show you why. I'm going to put my wire inside there. Okay, there's my wire. Now those wings tabs right there, okay, there is a right way to do this. Those wing tabs go down inside. Get down in the viewfinder. It's hard to, it's hard to work the crimper and watch the camera. So those wings go down inside where that M is, okay, and the U shape, the little bowl goes on top of the terminal. So at this point I'm going to squeeze it. Wait a minute before I do this. Oh, yeah, that's right. I got the right connector. I almost thought I had the wrong connector there for a moment. I was like, oh crap, screwed up. So now I'm going to squeeze it. It folds that wire right down over top. It folds the connector right over top of the wire. It does an excellent job. Again, people, I'm trying to watch my hands, what they're doing, which makes me get out of the viewfinder of the camera. Okay, so now get up here on these. Okay, I'm going to squeeze it down a little bit more. This is the big wide connector for that 4-pin. Yeah, these are quite a bit bigger. The quarters for the regular bronze ones, they're a lot easier. So I'm going to use this top one on this one because it's a lot bigger connector. Bring it in just a little bit more, because one's for this big 4-pin. Where'd the 4-pin go? One's for that big 4-pin right there. Those wide ones, they're a lot bigger wings on these. Okay, so now I'm going to use that one. Come in, squeeze, it rolls that rover on the wire. Ta-da! It's just beautiful. Yes, it is. Then just get your pliers and just kind of give a finish and squeeze, make sure they're locked down good, because I will come back and solder these. There's that end. Okay, now this is the end that goes to the views. The silver colored ones got the smaller wings. Still with these, even you need to take these back wings, bump them in just a little bit. Okay, then we're going to lay your wire in, lay your wire up in there. There's that. Then we take our crimpers, put them inside that trough right there where that M is. Crimp it. It rolls it right over onto the wire. It does such a wonderful job, it does. And since these are the smaller connectors, you stay with that smaller M connect. I don't even know what that crap that thing's even called. Kind of looks like McDonald's M. Squeeze it. Here we go. And there you go. Now we got one on stray wire right there, but like I said, I'm gonna solder it. So what I'll do, that stray wire, kind of fold it down on that right there. And then when I run my solder on everything, it'll coat it and it won't stick back up again. Cool, cool. On our last shot, we were building these. Remember I was showing you that, we're snapping them in, folding them over to set the proper lengths. Now we're gonna, I've already built it. Okay, I gotta adjust my viewfinder here. I've already built it, which is kind of like a, well, if it were air, it'd be called an air manifold. So I guess you call it electric manifold, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so this is what I did. I've got some like mega duty heavy gauge wire here that come off of XJ Power Distribution Center. XJ meaning Cherokee for people who may not be watching this for Jeep videos. But the Jeep Cherokee mid-90s XJs come with a Power Distribution Center that has this big fat cable on it like this. So I cut off the length of it and thought, I want some extra heavy cable here to distribute power amongst my fuse blocks here. So I thought, this is what I decided to do. I took this, cut some wire, cut the insulation back to right about along in here. It's back about 1.5 inches or so. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and cut this back a little bit and I'm going to show you why I use that dimension. Okay, got the cable stripped back. Now what we want to do, split this in half. And you may have to, if you notice how the wire kind of does a little twist, untwist it just a little bit. Take your blade or whatever you want to use and kind of split it somewhat evenly. There. Fold this back, make a Y out of it. Fold this back, twist it, fold this over, twist it. So now you can get the idea of what I did. When I fold this over like this, I took my little ends here for the fuses, crimped and soldered the wires, a little length of wire into them, and made that wire long enough that I could come up here and wrap around each one of these. And kind of did all 6 of the fuses that way. Kind of created myself a little manifold. If it were air, like I said a moment, if it were air, it'd be called an air manifold. So I guess this is a power distribution manifold. I guess, I don't know. Sounds good to me. But before I soldered each one of those lengths of wire onto this, I saturated this right here down with solder. Got the wire hot and just kept feeding solder into it, which made this very rigid. But it also had the solder soaked into the wire, which helped me out later on. As I put the wire around each one of them, then I put solder into each one of those wires here. That solder soaked through the wire I wrapped around off my little terminal, but then it also joined to the solder I had already soaked up into here. The black crap you see on here, that's that liquid tape right there. Pretty cool stuff when you want to use electrician tape. Pretty good stuff. I like it. I use it for a lot of different purposes. So that's what I made with that. Now there is another option. Instead of doing a little doojamahinky like this, I'll pop up, I don't have one, so I'll pop up a little picture about, boom, here. Take that little contraption there and you see how it's got the center post, and around it it's going to have a set of screws. Now if you get one with at least 6 screws, you can take each one of your little terminals here, solder your wire into it, run it out here, and put it on one of those screws. Then on that center post right there, take that center post and run it to your breaker first. Get you some kind of master breaker, master fuse, whatever. Then to your battery. But you'll see how I set up the breaker and all that stuff in a later video. And pay attention also whenever you solder these things or put your wires on. Pay attention also whenever you either solder your wire into these, if you do it like a manifold type setup like this, Or if you just do the wires, snap your wire and run it out here to one of those little terminals that has a center post with the screws at the outside. That honestly would be your easiest method. But then to be sure to somehow or another mark your wires. I said this is fuse 1, fuse 2, fuse 3, something like that. Be sure to mark your wires for that. But also pay attention to which way your terminals go here, because you see right there has a little hole in it. There's this little snaps down side here. Let's see, get the camera angle. Okay, see how it gets that white? You see right there at the tip of my blade. That's a little locking tab. And what that little locking tab does, it snaps inside those little holes right there and holds the terminals in place. So whenever you push a fuse in, it doesn't push out the terminal. Sound good? Cool. So I'm going to snap this baby in and we're going to start putting this thing together, okay? There you go, got them all snapped in. Flip on the other side. You see the connectors kind of getting the little shiny spots right there. The reason I say shiny spots, my viewfinder on my camera is a little bit deceiving as to how well it shows me what you guys see versus what you really see. I know oftentimes whenever I do that video editing, I see, hey, it does a lot better than my viewfinder shows me. So there you go. Alright, so we got that roll put in. Those are snapped in good and tight. If I ever have to pull that out, I'm going to have issues because, yeah, it's in there. That is not going to be fun. Actually, I think I'd build another one before I try to pull that bad boy out. So honestly, from a service standpoint, it would be better off probably, and if you're fluent with electrical work, you can go this route, okay? If you're a beginner wanting to build this box for the first time for yourself, I really like this thing, to be honest with you. On an upcoming video later on, I'm going to show you guys how to build one out of a Jeep Cherokee, the XJ. That's coming up for a later video. It's kind of more of an advanced tutorial, the way they're set up. This is more of an intermediate type thing for a skills level. But this whole box is a kit. The only downside to it didn't come with directions. That's where you're going to use my video for your directions. But overall, this little kit right here, I really like it. And to be totally honest with you, I think I like it better than the Jeep Cherokee XJ setup. It's much more compact. And it's very easy to set up. Now if you're fluent with electrical work. And again, if you're not, follow along this video. And plus my other videos about how to set up relays. And you'll kind of get the feel for what you need to do. So anyway, those are snapped in. Our next ones we're going to snap in is going to be the ground connection, which is here. Now, showed you previous in the video to where I was setting these up and I'd make a loop, boom, 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 because the ground, this is being a positive switching relay box is the way I'm wiring it. Your ground is going to be all common amongst all the relays. So you got one ground wire here, and the only reason you see yellow right here, I originally started wiring these up with black wire, but the black wire, you see the big fat heavy gauge here. This is a 12 gauge. Well, to stack two 12 gauge pieces of wire inside this plug right here was being an absolute pain in the tail. You do not need heavy gauge wire to trip your relays to turn them on, because your ground and your switching circuit are the only two wires you need to turn the relay on, but they're a very low amperage pull, so you do not need heavy gauge wire. So I switched over this yellow right here because it was a lot lighter gauge. This is like a 14 gauge right here, 16 or 14. I don't know if it's marked. Anyway, it's a lot lighter gauge. It was a lot easier to work with on the terminals. And what was really crazy is that right after I did all this, I was out in my shop nosing around some stuff, and look what I found. 16 gauge. I could have used that and kept my colors correct. So nonetheless, I'm going to snap these in place now. Okay, I've got this first one snapped in, and I want to show you. Look at the back of your little connectors, and you remember as you're putting them together, you see a little tab that sticks out of the back of the connector. There is a certain direction they have to be pushed in, otherwise they will not lock in. Okay, right. Remember the positions on your relay if you want. You notice how I got this one done. I've got T for trigger, which is going to go to your switches. Over here I got G for ground. And I always remember, and I've mentioned this before, and again go back to refer to some of my videos, and I'll put a link in the description down below and a little pop-up card somewhere. If you may have one of these here, or you may have two of these. These are always going out to your accessories. This is going to your battery. So you kind of eyeball it, lay your relay here, and kind of get a feel for, hey, you can see that this terminal matches this direction. These two right here are parallel with each other, so that's parallel here and that's parallel here, so we got our relays positioned correctly. Then you can know, oh, that's where my ground goes, that's where my battery goes, and so on and so on. So once got that little tab sticking out right there, if you look, let's see if I can get a good, the camera picks it up. So we're going to snap in this next one here, and see if I can get the camera positioned correctly. If you look really close, see how it's flat on one side, but you see a little divot right here. Okay, those divots right there, the little notch, is where the tab, the little locking tab on this right here goes. Okay, so all the thing you got to do is take that little locking tab, position it correctly with where that little notch is, push it in. There it is, it's locked in. Sweet. Now I'm going to go ahead and push the rest of them in. And what you see here is a 4-pin relay diagram I found on the internet. You guys look at the screen of my laptop right now, and here's the relay. Now if you look, let me try to position this to where you can see the diagram and the relay. Upper right hand corner, you got a 12-volt battery constant, which means it goes straight to your battery. In this case, it's going to go through the fuse first, then out to your battery. Then lower left here, you see fan positive lead. Well, of course, that can go to your cooling fan, or it can go to your lights, or whatever it is that you're triggering. Upper left, look at ignition 12-volt positive. That's going to be your on and off switch. Then you look, that's a trigger from PFC. Now, don't confuse this. I don't know what this particular circuit right here is for on this, but let's just count this as being your ground, okay? Because no matter what, whether you're triggering fans, whether you're triggering, alright, laptop. Whether you're triggering fans, lights, whatever it is you want to trigger, this is going to be your full-time ground. This position right here is going to be your 12-volt hot for your switch. You turn your switch on and off. And this one goes to your battery, this one goes to your accessory. So, back to the little black box. We'll wire it up that way. Okay, let's go ahead and put our ground in now. Now here's our little 4-pin we just discussed. And what I took the liberty of doing, put B for battery, plus for switching post positive. Other side, I have A for accessory, the negative, which is going to be your ground. Okay, so just so I say, I get this right, we're going to go here. Here's our 4-pin socket. Act like you're going to plug it in, you know, just kind of set it in position. Then we're going to unplug it, move it to the side, roll it over here. See my fingers here? I'm going to hold this in place. That's going to tell me where my positions are here, so I can make sure I plug my wires in the right place. So with this position right here is my ground, and we're going to snap this wire into this side here, because you got, here's your 2 wide posts, your 2 narrow posts. And since our ground is on this side, the negative here on this post, and we moved it straight over to the same position as this, that's going to put our ground right here. So in the event you ever grab one of these relays and it happens to have the diode that makes the switching circuit positive, negative, or the diode makes you have to be positive on this side, you're already wired for it and you won't have to worry about it. But in the event also, if you ever grab hold of a replacement relay and all of a sudden the relay doesn't work, you plug it into something else, or you test the relay and it works, then you know you may have to go ahead and switch these 2 around. Cool? Alright, so let's pop this maybe right here in place. Okay, I totally goofed with you guys. Now the position is correct. That's not where I goofed up at. That is the right contact area. But what I didn't do is show you how these particular contacts snap into this. If you look real close, you can see the little notch right here. Also, you can see the terminal where it does the little here. See where the can't hold this one. Flip over. See the terminal where it has the little gap right here, where the wires, where the terminal folds over to hold the relay tab. There is a certain way these have to go in on this plug. Where I showed you the little locking tab was on the back side of these. On all the others, these particular ones for this 4-pin are not made that way. Now let's look really close. So I can line it a little bit. See how it's got, you got notches, then you see a little round tab right here. where it kind of drops down inside there, that round tab means something to you. Cool? This connector right here, that round tab that you've seen down inside here, okay, try to get that camera again. That round tab right there locks underneath this. It hangs right there on the bottom of that lip right there to hold that contact in place. So what you got to do is when you lock them in place, you look down inside here, you say, okay, I see, so I get that camera angle on you again. Look for the viewfinder and showing you guys at the same time, it's kind of difficult. Okay, see right there is that little bump right there. Your terminal is going to be positioned to where it goes in. That bump is on this side. So right there. Well, this is actually one of these up here, so I don't count. But the other one for the ground side, that's where it, not for the ground side, but the switching side, that's where it goes. So pay attention to that. Because the other ones, the smaller ones are made the exact same way, but you just gotta watch that those little round bumps down there lock on the back side of this side right here. So there we go. We got the ground side done. Here's our ground wire going out to some place to be grounded. Now the rest of these right here makes a jump over to each ground terminal as I showed you the positions on the relay. Okay. So now we'll see which would be the best wires to put in next. Let's put in the ones for going to our fuse connectors here, okay? The ones that's going to plug into the battery terminal here, well, actually be battery terminal, yes, right here. Top positions all across on all these. They'll plug in here, and they'll go over here and snap in. Let's plug them in. There's one of them snapped in. I'm going to show you how to snap the second one in. Okay, again, you all look down inside here and see the little notch. You got flat up on top right here, and see that little notch right there where the tip of this is? That little notch is where your locking tab right there goes in. So see your notch, position your locking tab to the notch, gently push, you hear click. Guess what? It's locked in and you can't pull it out. You can, but there's a trick to it. You gotta go in from the other side and push that little terminal, or see, you'd have to go. Now, let's plug this side in. Remember what I told you about looking for that little, let's see, see right there, see the little, you got this little notch here, you got all this open space, you see right there is the little notch tab that locks this thing in. That little notching, little tab right there plugs into this side. Look right there. See the little hole right there? That's where it locks in at. So make sure you position that side of the contactor, or the connector here, on the proper side of the locking tab. So that's where I wanted my first one. Second position here goes to second position on this fuse. You may have to do a little finessing with it to get it in position. Play it in there. Work with it, work with your wire a little bit. Okay, notice we got it inserted. And push. May have to get your needle nose pliers. Work with it. I could have made that wire, honestly I could have made that wire a little bit shorter, and probably looks like I could have made this one a little bit longer. Okay, confession time. That's putting in that wire right there, and I was putting it in position here. And it had looping over top of this right here. I'm like, I don't like that. I want to run it under that, under this right here, then snap it in, because I'm just like one of those people that have to have all my wiring nice, neat and tidy whenever I'm doing jobs like this. Okay. Well, I kept pushing and prying, and boop, I broke my darn terminal. Okay. And they do not include extras. So I've got a couple choices. One, I can take that in right there and I can snap it back in there and extend this wire out this way if I want to, I guess, whatever, don't know. My other option is, because of the way these terminals are built, you got the little snapping hole right here. This sets in like this originally before I broke the darn thing. So what I may try to do, because the tab doesn't go in very far to lock it in, so I may just flip over this way, solder all that in right there, then dig out that hole right there to allow it to snap in. But what I'll have to do, if I do that, I'll have to push this in first, then snap this wire in. And I'll probably end up having to cut the wire and stretch it a little bit too, because the binding and the friction, the binding and the stress is going to be on this connection, and being on it soldered. Solder connections can be pretty strong as long as you do it right. But yeah, I done screwed up, so I'll fix that little issue later. We'll get on with the tutorial. Be careful, make your wires a little bit longer than you need, okay? Now let's do the 4-pin. Now remember, we have the big wide connectors that does not have the locking tabs on it. And also remember that the positions that I showed you on the laptop screen. See where I got the B right there in positive? Put that in position of where you got the wide terminals up here and the narrow terminals. Wide terminals, narrow terminals. See, we're positioned correctly as if you were to plug it in. Since our B is on this side for our battery is actually going to go to our fuse first, okay? So, take this right here. Look at the positions here. See where the connector here rolls over for the female spade? See where it rolls over? That goes in this direction. See how I've got it? It faces this side. And when you start pushing it in, when you push it in enough, you hear, yep, well, it didn't snap, but anyway, it's locked in. Right there it is. So it's locked in, but it didn't snap as prominent as all the rest of them do. So we're good to go. Sweet. Then we take it over. I want it on my last one right here, so I know what position it is. Needle nose pliers. Grab the wire, not the terminal here. Grab the wire, roll it over, twist it in like that. Then we take, again, stay on the wire, not the terminal. Push. Work with it a little bit. That, it snapped. Sweet. Let's see. Nope, still got a little bit more. Just see, this is where making your wires a little bit longer than you actually need them helps. Yeah, we're good now. I felt it. It didn't make much of a snap sound, but I felt it. So, and you can see right there that it's in position now. So we're good to go on that one. So aside from the one that I messed up, we got all the power ran to all the relays now. Cool. Alrighty. What shall we do next? Let's do these, which goes out to our accessories, which will go out to our little strips on the side here. Sound good? Let's do it. Now I want to see how many of y'all was paying attention and seen me mess up. I've already corrected it. This wire right here, which goes to the fuse block, I had it in the wrong position. I actually plugged it in here. Why should I not have done that? Because that's the accessory terminal here. Remember the two parallel ones? These go out to your accessory. This is the one to the battery. And I had this, wasn't paying attention, I snapped it to this one, I had to move it to this one. So, just in case someone says, oh, I'm going to do mine like that because that's the way that's the way he did it, so it's got to be right. No, actually I screwed up. I should not have went there, it should have went here. So, again, pay attention. If you got to hold your relay, move it in positions to pay attention to where each wire goes. Your two parallel ones are always your accessories. This is always your battery. Then these two right here can kind of be interchangeable, but just for consistency's sake, now this one's going to go to your switch and this one's your ground. Okay, so I seen that I started putting my accessory wires in and I realized, oh crap, I done messed up. So I wanted to point it out to you guys in case you know, one, some of you skilled ones out there busted me. Two, some of the ones who's trying to learn from my tutorial can learn from my mistake also. Cool? Alright. Now, we're going to take this one, which goes out to our one of our accessories, and we're going to start from this one back here, being our first position. See our little tab, little locking tab? I'm going to plug, the locking tab goes to the locking tab goes to the inside here. And you feed it in, push, snap, and there it goes. See, it ain't pulling out. So now I got to run it out here kind of squish it down. Now I'm going to run it out here and bring it over to my terminals. Cool? Alright. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys, I've kind of run into a situation. In my quest to make sure I had big enough wiring to carry anything I want to put to it, which 10 gauge is actually really overkill, and that's what gauge this right here is. You can probably get away with 12, okay? Because look at this. I'm cramming 10 pounds of taters in a 5-pound sack here, and it's getting tight. Can I close that up? Yes, I can now, but remember something. Remember I showed you guys before. Let me pop this open. Get out of there, dang it. In my quest for going overkill and make sure that I never had to worry about it, I kind of made things complicated on myself. Remember inside that cover right there? There it is. I had to pull it back out because once I got all this fat 10 gauge cabling stuck in there, I didn't have enough room for it. So what are we gonna do? Now also, I had to manipulate some of the cabling, go underneath here because you got that little round area right through here. I had to tuck some of the cabling down to fill that void to come around that, and then taking the rest of us going in through here, so this part right here, it would all actually cram in there. And I'm actually thinking about, if you look, see this right here? That's not exactly meant to be cut out, but I think I may end up doing it anyway. Because if you notice right here, if you see that little hole, then that little gap, what that's for is when your wiring comes out, you wrap a wire tie around it and help support it real well. Well, in my quest for making sure my wire was heavy enough, I made life hard on myself. And I probably end up cutting that back right there, but it's still yet I'll wire tie it out here once I get it done and wire tie it onto this, and it'll be good and solid. We'll be good to go. The one thing that I haven't done yet though is put my switch wires in yet, and I'm kind of almost out of room. I'm not bringing it out this way because this caps over like this. Wires aren't, there's not enough room, so I'm going to make me a hole back here to bring my switch wires out. Now I showed you guys before I had that inside there like this. That's not going to fly any longer. So whenever I finally get that to snap on, what I plan on doing is, turn this right way, is when the wire comes out the end here, I'm going to bring it around here. This is the top cap. I really wanted the top cap to be separate, but well, in my quest for super fat cables, not going to have them. So I want to fix that right there. But it's going to be kind of a good thing also. I need to position it high enough that whenever I put my switch wires onto this, that I'm not going to get in the way of my wires down here that's going out to my accessories. So that's what my thought process is for the moment. I don't have, not knowing where I'm exactly going to mount back here yet, with inside the Jeep, not sure about that quite yet. No, back here out of the way or whatever, but no. It'll end up going right there. And I'll take and tie the wires together from here to where it goes into here. Therefore, whenever I pop the top off and I'll lay it over, it'll kind of hold the top in place, keep me losing it, probably, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, in my quest to make sure my wire gauge was heavy enough, I actually made life hard on myself. This is 10 gauge. You should be just fine with 12. Because my 52 inch, it doesn't pull enough power to justify a 10 gauge wire. Let me think what else I'm going to be running that might be high amperage. I mean, I'm going to have an onboard air compressor, but even it's not going to, it doesn't pull enough power that it requires 10 gauge. So again, I ran 10 gauge here, made life hard on myself, go to 12 and you should be okay. Now I'm going to run, it'll not going to be a hole in right here to bring my cabling out for my switches. So that's where I'm at the moment. So each wire, as you can see here, let's see, this is going to fuse. I simply brought it out, sized up my wire, went in here, made the loop come around to each designated place. So this one comes all the way around and goes to the strip. So what, basically first fuse, first position, just kind of size it up like that. I mean first relay, first position out here. And that's the way I'm doing it. You know, it's your choice how you want to go from there. Yeah, obviously I've crammed a bunch of wiring inside that thing. I was kind of, the whole time I was wiring it, I really was thinking this was deeper. Because the XJ, the Cherokee ones, are much, much deeper. So, anyway, that's where I'm at the moment. And I'm going to go ahead and start poking me a hole in this thing right here to run my switch wires out. So, be back with you guys in a bit. Okay, here's what I've done. Whenever you get the kit, or if you purchase a kit, totally up to you. There were some little standoffs right here that came up and supported the lid here. I trimmed those back a little bit to give a little more room for the cabling to come through because of my overzealous cable sizing here. And I took the top here, trimmed that out so it's much more easier comes through here. I notched a little gap right here, so I'm going to bring my switch wires out through. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is taking this wire here that I've already, of course, got the terminals on. Now remember, you got our batteries. Take a relay, position it just like these. Parallels here, here. Those are your accessories. Remember, hold them in place. So here's your battery, here's your battery. Here's your accessory, there's your accessory. Here's your ground terminal, there's your ground terminal, which leaves switching goes right here. So I'll take these and I'll plug them into that switch circuit. Let me get you a little closer shot. You guys should, if you've built this thing this far already, you should know where it's at. Anyway, it's going to be right there. Each one of them coming around except for that one, that 4-pin. But hey, we've already got 3 of them plugged up in the 4-pin. It's kind of hard to, it's got pretty easy to guess which one's left, huh? Alright, so I'm going to start popping them in real quick. Okay, I've got my wires for my switches run through, and you see right there, if I drop it, right there, whenever I snap the cover on, it's going to exit right out that back end right there. Then I'll take and bring it around. It'll be on this cover, and I'll tie them on up here. Phew, that was a job cramming that thing in there. What I ended up doing is taking here, go ahead and snapping these in place, because this tab here would go in okay. It was this one over here I was having a problem with. So I inserted that one in, snapped these in place. And this one right here, I took my screwdriver and come in from the bottom side and leveraged it up just a little bit for that tab to slide and pop in. So I got that baby crammed in there now. Here's my ground. Here's with my hot. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to solder me a big lug. See, you know, like the end of a battery cable, the part where you'd screw onto the starter or bolt onto the starter. I'm going to put me a lug on the end of it, like it's right here, to make me a get with maxi amp fuses that'll accommodate all the amperage I'm going to be running inside this. So that's my idea for that for right now. And this is my ground, which is just going to screw straight to the body of the Jeep. Now, time to set up my switching side. Okay, everyone, it is time for the demonstration. What I've got set up here, we've got our batteries back here. Actually, this is 2 6-volt batteries, and I've got them wired up to produce 12 volts. Got them wired in series. Going to our little power strips here, which is giving me all the contact points for my positives and negatives. We got us a circuit breaker here, which will simulate the main breaker for this box here when I install it. Then we got a light here, and a light here, and a light here. Then we've got our switches here. Now, if you guys, some of you may recognize if you've been following my channel, this is the switch pod I made a while back. Got a little dome light going on here, got my little lights up here, lights up there, all that good fun stuff. These switches ain't hooked up, reason nothing came on. Plus I've got the breaker turned off. And I'm using household thermostat wire right here to power everything up. And this is a 7 conductor here. So the 7 conductor is fine since we've only had 6 relays in this pack here. And even in the Jeep Cherokee XJ build, there's only 7 relays to deal with. So 7 conductor thermostat wire will work out just fine. It's easy to work with. It's a solid core. It'll take the heat from under the hood, So this is really what you want to use here. And you can pick it up in your hardware stores. I got this right here from Home Depot. So you guys are going to notice something. When I turn this breaker on, one of these lights are going to come on, but notice none of my switches are turned on. Just the bulbs are lit up. Now this switch isn't hooked to anything, but if I turn it on, you see that the upper light turns on. Okay? That means, hey, this switch is turned on. Got it? Cool. Now let's turn this one on. Boom! See that big bright light? Let's turn it upside down so it'll freak the camera out. But you can see that's on. And we got this light. Now, what's going to be cool about this particular switch right here, let's turn it on. Watch what happens right here. Ah, ain't that cool? It just switched lights. It's only hooked up off of one relay now. That one relay, remember, they had the 87A relay. This is what I was explaining. Right now we'll turn the switch off. This light's on. The middle terminal in this relay here, the 87A terminal, is now completing the circuit to the light. Flip this switch, turn it on, boom. 87A just broke the connection to this light and switched the connection over to this light, all on one relay. And again, that's the 87A relays. So turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. What would you use in a situation like that? Think about it. A lot of your cars who have driving lights under the bumper or mounted to the bumper or whatever the case may be, an 87A, 87B style relays. Right now, if you got your lights on dim, this is your driving light turned on. If you have your headlights on dim, this is your driving light. But when you pull the little switch, put your lights on bright, well, now your headlights are on bright, but it just turned off the driving lights. And that's the way a lot of the cars are wired now. Whenever you turn your bright lights on, it turns off the driving lights. Whenever you turn them on high beams. Okay, let's take the high beams, turn the high beams off. It turns your driving lights back on. See what I'm saying? That's where your 87A relays come in handy at. Now, this right here, boom, we got light. That is the 4-post right here. So, see, everything works. I've just got some random fuses stuck in it for right now. And just for the testing purposes, these are all 15s, that's a 20. I have no idea what fuses I'm running yet, simply because whenever I'll test the amperage draw on each one of my accessories as I hook it up to whichever circuit I want to run. Say if I have a one of my LED bars, say the one that's recessed back in my bumper, let's just say hypothetically it pulls 10 amps. Well, instead of using a 10 amp fuse, I'll use a 15 because it's the next step up. But I'll measure the amperage draw on each accessory that I hook to these relays. And if it pulls 9 amps, I'll step up the next one, which will be 10 amps, or possibly go to 15 if it's that close. But you'll see whenever I do that test, or whenever I install this and I test each one of my accessories that I wire up, you'll see how that works. Okay? Sweet. There you go. She works just perfectly, except for the one I broke. Some of you are thinking, "Aw, I wanted to see the Cherokee one." Don't worry, it's coming up, I promise. Now, this little kit right here is much more compact than the Cherokee one, much smaller footprint. I like it in that respects. Each one has their pros and cons, I'm put it to you that way. This right here, I went like super fat on the cable for the 10 gauge. Honestly, it's overkill. 12 gauge will do you just fine. It didn't accommodate that too well because the belly pan thing right here is a little bit shallow. But again, I think I kind of overbuilt this kit bigger than what it was originally intended for, but that's okay. Now you see my wires exit out okay. It's still of a somewhat modular design that I like to use. Here's where my switches trigger in. This is where I hook my accessories at. Overall, I still like it. I do. So if you guys, I'll put a link down below that you guys can purchase one if you like, down the comments, down the descriptions, that's it, or details, whatever it is. Anyway, overall, I like the little contraption here. So, everyone, if you like that video, hit me with that thumbs up. I think it'll fall off a bumper. Hit me with that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, because when you subscribe, you'll get notified of these videos as I release them. And don't worry, the Cherokee's coming up, probably not next week, but week after next possibly. So, everyone, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Peace out. Later, y'all.